Hello and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Mogbe in Lagos.
What a greetings to you wherever you are in the world watching us. In London, I'm Austin Okonakpan. Cecilia, we talked about it yesterday. We were waiting for some confirmation. We got it today. Jose Peseiro is no longer in charge of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. What's next for the team now? Because all we know are talks about Austin Eguavoen taking, over the realms in interim capacity. Is that what we want for our football at this time? Big question.
Yeah, it's a big question, but nothing is confirmed yet. But this afternoon, it was on the social media post. There is no official confirmation from Nigeria Football Federation communication department. So we are waiting to hear from them, because what we have and what we know is the fact that Joseph Peseiro this afternoon posted on his social media handle bidding the team farewell, that he is leaving the team because his contract expired yesterday with the Nigeria Football Federation. Whether there are talks of extension is what we really don't know, and who is going to take over from him is what we really don't know. Whatever you have out there are all what people are speculating, talking about the fact that, hey, Austin Eguavoen is stepping in. But no official confirmation from Nigeria Football Federation. We will wait for that, and then we'll give you the big news. Trust us on this show. But we're not discussing only the Nigeria Football Federation issues on coach alone. We will be taking a look at golf, of course. Golf is going to get our attention on the show tonight. And the police games, Nigeria Police Games, is ending on Saturday. Right. We'll give you updates on what they intend to do on the final day. And also NPFL match day 23 will get our attention. It's getting hot enough. Eyimba leading the team. And we talked about this yesterday. Once Eyimba had to put their hands at the top of the table, it's always hard for you to put them down. We'll talk about that also on the program. And of course, the Manchester Derby is this weekend. Is it as big as it used to be? You look at the position of Manchester City and you look at the position of Manchester United, and in the last 5 years, Manchester City have been dominating that derby. That will also get our attention. Of course, there is someone in the studio I haven't seen for like 2-3 years or something. Onifade, hi.
Good evening, Cecilia. It's good to be here.
Great to have you join us. Pleasure. And also, we're going to be having Colin Udoh joining us on the program to also talk about the way forward for Nigeria. Contract extension with Joseph Peseiro, I don't think that's going to happen. If you have to read through the tweets, he posted on his official handle. And also, with the fact that we're still waiting for confirmation from Nigerian Football Federation. Once Colin Udoh joins us, we'll talk about that extensively. But first, Onifade, the story is everywhere. That, of course, we're going to be having maybe just another coach to prosecute the remaining parts of the World Cup qualifiers, ends in June. And of course, in March, we don't know if we're going to be having any friendlies, because if you look at international windows and most of the matches slated for this month, Nigeria is not part of it. Maybe there's something in the offing that's coming up, which we really don't know yet.
Was that would have been tempting enough to have him stay with the team, but sadly it turned out the way it turned out. I said sadly, not as if Jose Peseiro leaving is the end of Nigerian football, but I thought that we were building up to something immediately after the AFCON. And many might question the style of play of the team, but whether you like it or not, what we got out of the AFCON is that Nigeria came second, and you cannot call that a bad performance, irrespective of what you think of the man. But unfortunately, I thought the World Cup qualifiers would have been tempting enough for him to want to hold on to the team, but unfortunately, it just couldn't get that through. And he did the team farewell. Let us wait for what the NFF will do. Lots of speculation here and there. The name I'm hearing is, I don't know how to react to that.
Let's leave that. That's not in the picture. We'll leave that because there's speculation. We'll rely on that also, really. Right? We won't rely on what is out there on social media, because even before the tweets today, the news flying around yesterday was the fact that his contract has been extended by 1 year. I mean, we heard so many stories. Well, maybe we'll just run through the tweets now for everyone to actually, get a sense of what is currently happening. Now, this is what he posted on his official Twitter handle. He says, yesterday we concluded our contract with the Nigeria Football Federation. It was a pride and honor to coach the Super Eagles. It's been 22 months of immense dedication, sacrifice, emotion, and enormous enthusiasm. We feel a sense of fulfillment. I mean, he's really happy he was able to fulfill a lot, because his contract for him was actually to take the Super Eagles to the semi-finals. But what he did, he was actually able to take them to the final. And if you flip over and take a look at other, series of tweets, because it wasn't just this one, it went further to say that we would like to express our gratitude to Sir Amanju Pinnick, the president who signed us, President Ibrahim Gusau, General Secretary Mohammed Sanusi, Secretary of the Super Eagles, Dayo NMB, the NFF, and all the staff, and especially all the players, I mean, on caps right there. That's, he loves the players, with whom leading has been a great pleasure. And the final one was actually the fact that he will always, wherever he is, he will always remember the Super Eagles, and they can always reach out to him anytime. And then he was actually sending a big hug to all the players, and I'm sure the players are going to catch that a whole lot. Guys, we are thankful. It's been a privilege to be part of this family. We will miss you, but we will always be there for you, no matter where you are. A big hug to all of you. Now, this is the one I love best, because the way he actually put that out at the end of the day shows how, I mean, how do I put it, Austin? Shows the fact that he loved the players, he loved this job, and it was a success for him. His target was what? Take the team to the semi-final. And what did he do? He went ahead to take them to the final. Yes, he couldn't win the trophy, losing to his host nation, but then there's always a silver in the silver lining. Yeah, Colin Udoh is ready to join us now. I think Austin will have to bring Colin Udoh in on the program tonight. I'll quickly, talk to him concerning this Joseph Peseiro series of posts on his social media handle that he is leaving his position as the coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria following the expiration of his contract on February 29th.
Yes, Cecilia, before Colin comes in, when you were talking about the final part of his statement, I said it on this show last night that if there's anything Jose Peseiro did right from the moment he accepted the job to become the coach of the Super Eagles, he showed that he could be a father to the team. He was a proper father figure, and he showed that he also loved Nigeria. I said it, that he announced that he wants to win the AFCON. The NFF says, get to the semifinals. And when the NFF starts giving you targets, they're already trying to let you know that they don't want you to last on the job. The man, braved the odds and went, to the final. I was just so, unlucky not to win the trophy in Cote d'Ivoire. But hey, it is what it is. Let's go to Virginia Beach. Colin Udoh has been covering the Super Eagles for only God knows when. He, under his watch, coaches have come and gone. Good evening, Colin. It's good evening in London. I'm sure it's afternoon in Virginia. Welcome to Sports Tonight.
Thank you very much, Austin. Great to be here.
Awesome. Just before the AFCON kicked off, we had you on the show. Not just you, I'm guilty. I was saying I wasn't expecting anything from Jose Peseiro and his team, and voila, they went to the final. And I was monitoring your tweets. At some point, you became converted. You loved the team. You started supporting them. Were you expecting him to stay on the job?
Well, so to dial back a little bit, the thing is, the one thing I always believe about the Super Eagles is that irrespective of what form they are in, they're a tournament team. So when they get, especially when it comes to AFCON, so when they get there, they almost always seem to do well, better than, sometimes even we expect them to. And I mean, it shows. We've been in more podium finishes than any other team at the AFCON. So I didn't exactly not believe them. And if you see some of my bracket that I put before the tournament started, I actually had them getting all the way to the final on my social media pages. So you'd see that I didn't just become converted when they started. From the get-go, I always thought they'd get to the final. Having said that, when you look at the way they performed, it's a bit of a two-way street. On the one hand, They did a great job getting to the final. On the other hand, you think that when you look at the personnel available and the quality of players, maybe they could have done a little bit better in the final, and even on their way there. But even with the loss and everything else, I think they did a fantastic performance getting there. And I believe that Jose Peseiro should have stayed on to carry on the work that he's doing. And let make no mistake, I don't think he's gone, irrespective of the tweet that was put out. I think my understanding of that statement was the fact that, one, his contract ran out at the end of February. So having not been offered a fresh contract, or maybe having not been offered a contract that he's agreed with, he's saying, okay, my contract is over. Whether I'm here or not, I still love you guys. And let's not forget that I think a couple of weeks ago, we saw a statement from a member of the NFF Technical Committee saying that they had made a recommendation about Jose Peseiro to the government, and they might be extending his contract. So I don't think this is the final word. I think that maybe it's just part of the conversations that go on, current negotiations, and maybe it might come back on. But even if it doesn't, I think he's had a good run. This has been his best performance with the national team from when he started, and I think that he should have been allowed to at least remain, and there shouldn't be this uncertainty about whether he's staying or going. That's my biggest grasp about this whole situation.
Yeah.
And part of the reason for that is that we've been here before. You mentioned that I've been covering the Super Eagles since the early 2000s, and I've been following them even well before that when I was still a student. And the one thing that has been constant when it comes to changing coach is the fact that we never take anything less than 6 months to replace the coach. So you look at the timeline going all the way back from when Clemens Westhouse left till now, every time it takes at least 6 months to get a new coach, at least a new foreign coach. When we get like an interim, like we have now with the saying Guavon, Finidi, and so on, but to get a substantive coach takes that long. And you look at the fact that we've got World Cup qualifiers around the corner. We haven't started well. We want to do well. We want to go to the World Cup after missing the last one. There is a problem.
I know, big problem, Colin. I totally agree with you. And I don't blame Jose Peseiro for coming out with that statement, because my inside sources, countries are talking to him and they're saying that if your contract is truly out with the Super Eagles, then you've got to announce it. The man has got a life to live. He needs to move on. And if the NFF really wanted to keep him, right from the moment he reached the final, you should start the negotiations. You start making arrangements. So, Colin, as it is now, are we taking 10 steps backwards again? I thought we were going to consolidate on the performance at the AFCON. Now with this, and you just said it, that we've had a shaky start to the World Cup qualifiers. Are we taking steps backwards?
I mean, there's no other way to put it. Look, if you have a coach, there are two things here. If you have a coach and you want to keep him, then you come out immediately without any ambiguity and you say, hey, look, you know what, we're keeping this coach because we're building and want to continue. We have an objective to reach. I mean, one objective was the AFCON. We've got to the final. The next objective is World Cup qualification. And so if you want to reach that objective, you say, hey, look, you know what, we're keeping this coach so he can take us over that next objective. Now, the same thing, if you're not going to keep him, you say, well, we want somebody who can give us better. Maybe you didn't like the kind of football he played, you didn't like something he did, and you say you want to make a change. Then again, you come out unambiguously and say, hey, look, you know what, we're changing things and we're bringing somebody, and you announce the person. I mean, look at Algeria. They fired Belmadi, even with all they were going through the same kind of issue that we had with Belmadi, whether he was going to stay or not going to stay. But Belmadi has left, and just was it 2 days ago, they announced a new coach because there's a World Cup qualifier coming up. So I think it should have been the same thing with Nigeria. Nobody's saying you must keep Peseiro with a gun to your, or a knife to your neck, or a gun to your head. If you want to keep him, that's a prerogative. If you want to take him out, that's a prerogative. But give us a clear decision saying, all right, we're keeping this man, but we're not keeping him. So that the next man coming in knows exactly what he's got to do, who he needs to speak to, what players he needs for the qualifiers that are coming up. There's no time to muck about, because we play against South Africa, and I mean they have a set coach who's not going anywhere, and he's already preparing for these World Cup qualifiers. So if you have a coach you're keeping Peseiro, then he's already doing the groundwork ahead of those qualifiers. But if you want to bring in somebody else, then bring him immediately so he can also start making preparations for those qualifiers as well. You don't want to wait until the last minute and then you bring a coach, and then if you don't qualify for the World Cup, you start blaming the coach when the blame should go elsewhere. So we do need to take a decisive decision and take it now.
Let me bring in Cecilia immediately. Cecilia, profile solutions for us.
That's why Colin is here, to actually provide the solutions to all of us. I mean, Colin, the indications that no matter the result he got, as you mentioned, concerning his style of play, it maybe NFF can come up with something or anything. Do you think, in your own opinion, he should stay as Super Eagles coach? And if he's going to leave, should they maybe rely on home-based coach? Because the issues of non-payment of salaries and stuff like that are always something that we're always having with the foreign coaches.
Well, look, they say a coach is as good as his last result, right? And if you look at Peseiro's result at the AFCON against Africa's best teams, what did he do? He went 5 for 6. I mean, he drew first game, and then from then on, went 4 for 6. You know, win until got to that. I think it was the
draw against South Africa.
Against South Africa, and then the final where they lost against Cote d'Ivoire. So they only lost one game throughout that tournament. And I mean, at that point, it was a question of fatigue and whatever. So when you look at that, you've got to think, in that case, do you think this man is capable of getting us the result at the World Cup qualifiers? And you put that together, you also look at the continuity factor, which I've spoken about. You don't have time. The only window we have in all of 2024 is in March, and we're supposed to play against Argentina in a friendly. Now that game has been cancelled, so there really isn't any time at all for anyone to come in and you'd expect that even if a new coach is coming in, you won't have a friendly game, so you can infuse his own ideas into the team. So now, if we assume that Peseiro is leaving the Super Eagles, then the only other thing you can do is get a local coach, because if you get a foreign coach, you're setting yourself up for disaster, because he's going to come in, he's going to want to put his own ideas and so on, and the players are going to take time to get used to that before they go and start playing a crucial World Cup qualifier against a very, very strong opposition. So it's either you get Finidi, who was part of that technical setup, who understands how Peseiro works and who can also bring his own ideas to add to that without changing things significantly, or we had a Gabon come in and do the same job. We had his name being mentioned. Again, Amunike's name has been mentioned. So those are people who know the team, who understand the team, and who can slip in there without needing to make any major changes. But they still need to have at least one window of preparation where they can work with these players for at least a couple of weeks, for at least a week or a couple of days at least, to prepare them for that game coming up.
Okay, Colin, I think we'll keep you. I mean, we need to go on a very quick break, because I know Austin wants to ask you one question before we let you, but we need to go on a break. When we come back, of course, we'll still be talking about Joseph Peseiro on his post that he is, his contract ends with the Nigerian Football Federation, and bidding the players farewell on social media. Yeah, Damilola, before we go back to Colin, just a quick one on this one. I mean, you heard what Colin said, talking about the fact that you already have a process going on. Even if he's going to leave, you have Finidi George, who is his assistant. With him all through the AFCON, he can actually step in. What do you think about this?
I think that's probably the best alternative that we have at the moment, in my view, because if you don't have Peseiro, then you just have to keep what we have, whether we like it or not. I keep saying that whatever you think of the style of play, we had a good AFCON. We got to the final. You can't get to the final and tell me you have a poor performance. We had a good AFCON. And who is that member of the team that I think can still continue? I mean, that's definitely Finidi. Okay. So what we should be thinking about is who do we bring around Finidi to make him, to support him, and then get him to do the job. The job
done. Austin, I know you want to ask one or two questions for Colin before we let him go, because I know he's a very busy man.
Yeah, Colin, I was just, I was sniffing around, and you said it, and you echoed my fears that we take forever to replace coaches in Nigeria. Maybe we could do what Cote d'Ivoire did. It was the assistant that, went all the way, and then even it's been confirmed But if we are to still go foreign, who is available? Who can turn things around for us? Who is that reformer that can give us the Vesta of kind of super egos?
Okay, so when I speak of things like this, I like to sort of like go back in history a little bit. Now, when you look at Nigeria, have we ever hired a world-class coach? Right? The only time we've hired what is maybe a world-class coach is when we had Carlos Alberto Pereira, who came in, got to the airport, turned right back, and went back to Brazil. And then
when we were talking to Ericsson, we tried to hire Ericsson.
I'm talking about those we actually said we hired. I mean, Ericsson was just talking. It never happened. And then Lars Lagerberg, who coached Sweden, who came in for the World Cup, made his money, and took off. So when we talk about hiring coaches, we always bandy all these big names around: Ericsson, Brian Robson, Jose Mourinho, this and that, even
Paul Le Guen.
But the only time we even managed to get world-class coaches was, again, like I said, Carlos Alberto Pereira. He got to the airport, took one look, turned around, and flew right back to where he came from. And then Lars Lagerberg, who practically barely stepped foot in Nigeria. He just came for the training camp, went to Africa for the World Cup, and then left from there, and barely ever came to Nigeria. So on the basis of that, even if there is a world-class coach available to hire, the one thing we can guarantee that Nigeria is not going to hire him. First of all, because the process is going to drag on for about 6 months. Secondly, we won't be able to afford him. I mean, part of the issues we're having with Peseiro is that they don't have money to pay him. First of all, his wages were $70,000. They cut it down to $50,000, and then it needed presidential intervention to pay him. And this is something that most folks don't know. Now, let's forget about sponsorship and so on and so forth. The NFF is largely funded by the federal government, right? And it is the only sporting federation in the country that has its own budget actually carved out as a line item in the sports budget. Now, when you go back to the 2023 budget, how much does the NFF have allocated to it? 1.3 billion naira. Now, you're talking 1.3 billion naira to pay, to not only organize competitions, but pay everybody, pay staff, everything, and then also pay the national coach. Now, when you think of a $50,000 goal taken in your pocket or in your account every month, that's almost like half of the entire budget of the federation for the entire year. How are you going to pay the coach? You can't afford to do that. And so that money has to come from at least some sponsorship. But how much sponsorship is there? We used to have a situation where a certain company was paying the wages of the coach, but even that was an issue because they started where they were paying, got to a certain point, it stopped. They weren't paying anymore, and that contract is lapsed. So when you put all of that into consideration, it's clear that we're not going to be able to afford to hire a world-class coach. We've not been able to anyway in the first place. So the only way we can look is inwards, and that's why I said, you look at someone like Fede, he's been part of that technical crew, he's worked for Peseiro, and I think he has the chops, to take that team as far as it can go. You look to Eguavon, who's done, I'm sure he's learned from the lessons of the last AFCON where he sort of got himself into it. But he's coached the team before that time. After Christian Chukwu, he was assistant to Christian Chukwu, took over on his own, coached the team, and then came back as TD and managed that team. So you've got competent hands who can do the job without having to go that far. And let's not forget, the last 3 AFCON coaches were local coaches. AFCON winners, I beg your pardon.
Yeah. Good points. And that's a good place to land. While we talk about competent coaches, we also need competent administrators in the NFL that understand what they are doing so that they can do it the right way at the right time. And so football in Nigeria can grow. Colin Udoh, thank you so much for your time, for always talking to us whenever I will reach out to you. I appreciate you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to send my invoice to Cecilia.
Hurry up, do it. Experienced and respected sports journalist Colin Udoh speaking to us from his base in the United States of America. So, Damilola, let's let you, finish on this. Colin said a lot of things, and I'm sure he echoed some of your points. But then again, where do we go from here?
I think where we go from here is it's simple. Colin had said it clearly that we really can't afford to pay a coach. I mean, the bases are there.
Yeah.
I mean, so even we are even holding local coaches anyway. So so now go foreign makes it look as if we just don't have a plan or we're not serious. So I think our best bet at the moment is to stay local. I'm not totally convinced on the job Finidi had done with Eyimba yet. But then, because it's part of the team, it's probably the best option. And that's the only reason why I would still feel, okay, go Finidi. But the job he has done with Eyimba so far has not convinced me.
They won the league title last season. It's not convincing. And now they're top of the league table. Still not convincing.
They're out of the continent in 2 major competitions this season.
I know that's where you're going to go to.
And they failed at the first third round.
I know that's where you're going to go to.
So I'm not convinced because that's international competition. And if you're coaching the Super Eagles, you're not going to be playing Kano Pillars or Katsina United. You're going to be playing top nations.
Well, no, it's more difficult to actually play in this Nigerian league where players travel like 14 hours on the road and they're playing game the next day.
But then you're also going to coach Super Eagles where you probably don't have more than 48 hours with your players.
Yeah, 48 hours with your players.
So
well, that's also the team. I think that's where the argument is.
I agree with that to some extent. But then my point is, if you're going to appoint Finidi, then we must be ready to give him time.
Of course.
That's where I'm landing to. I agree that he's part of the team, but we should not expect results in 2 years. For example, if you give the team to Finidi now, you're giving him a mandate to win the Nations Cup in 2025, because the next Nations Cup is just in 1 year. And I mean, that would be unrealistic. I'm not saying it's not possible. I mean, we saw Fire at the AFCON. Fire had less than 2 months anyway. But he's been part of the team. That's the basis. He's also the under-23 coach. So that's the basis. So maybe we can, it's an experiment, but if your experiment succeeds, then you've made a smart move. If it fails, you go back to the drawing board.
All right. Okay. All right, let's go to the continent now. The one is eager to talk about. Of course, Rivers United are still on the continent. Let's just take a look at we'll look at the fixtures for this weekend. Last weekend, they went away from home. And, of course, it was a 3-2. They were able to get a victory over Academica. But this time around, they will be at home against Dreams FC of Ghana, who have 12 points. They actually are topping the table at the moment. And Club African will be up against the Whipping Boys from Angola, who are bottom of the group. They are yet to win a game. Now, let's take a look at what the table is looking like. The prospect of Rivers United actually making it out of the group stage. Now, Dreams FC, as I mentioned earlier, after 5 games, they've won 4. No draws for any of these teams. They lost 1 and goal difference of 5 on 12 points. And take a look at Club African. After 5 matches, 3 wins, 2 losses, and of course, goal difference of 5, and then they're on 9. And between Rivers United and Club African, same numbers of games played, same numbers of wins, same losses, but the goal difference, that's where the issue is, just 1. So if they're able to beat Dreams FC in Port Harcourt on Sunday, so it simply means that they will be on 12 points, and that's if Club African beats. There's a whole lot of calculation right here. But let me go to Austin first. Austin, I mean, you love using the calculator and try to, work out the mathematics for us and how they can actually finish second in this group. But this is really looking dicey. You're looking at Dreams FC, who are topping on 12 points. And, of course, you know what happens at Rivers United. They are not good travelers. But after winning away from home, their first away win on the continent this season. So you think everything is looking pretty for them?
And the Fox, Cecilia, I remember that's what I said. Go out there, give everything you have against Academica Lobito and stay relevant in the competition. And that's what they did. And when Dreams FC defeated Club Africain, you need to see the way my fist in the air, you see how happy I was. And right there, I gave a mandate to Rivers United. Do everything. In fact, they want to carry Rivers Angels to back them to go and play that game against Dreams FC. Beat Dreams FC properly. This is the kind of game at first half you should be leading 3-0. At the final, it's to 5-0. So no matter the calculation that is going to happen, you should have some good, standing to finish either first or second on the group to advance. It's tough. They've put themselves in this situation, but now they need to get themselves back up. And that's to show that they can win big against Dreams FC in the final Group C match. It's very simple. minimize your errors. Come out there, show intent, play with the unity of purpose, get on the offensive on time, put fear in the minds of Dreams FC, tell them that, look, our objective is simple. We want to beat you so well so we can advance in this competition. And I think they'll get it done. That's what they did against Lobito. Hardly I would say Rivers United played the way they did, that they haven't conceded, yet they're still, scoring to go on to win. So now that you've done that difficult task, this one, just relax and give Dreams FC the beating that they deserve. So that even if something goes wrong with the calculation, we could still say, well done, you did just fine. I'm not going to tolerate any rubbish results from Rivers United. You cannot take us this high now. And then after that match against Dreams FC, we'll start wondering what's going on. That's not going to happen. So best wishes to Stanley Guma and his team. Best wishes to the players. Let them go out there and get the job done, Cecilia.
Yeah, Dami, I mean, is this something they can actually do? A home advantage for them this time around, going away from home, 3-2, scoring 3 goals. That's huge for a team like Rivers United.
I think they can. Everything supports the fact that they should be able to do it. And again, there is also the head-to-head that is the first tiebreaker. So they might not necessarily have to make up on this goal difference because this goal difference suggests 5-0 as you're saving 7 points. But I think the first tiebreaker, I saw that somewhere this afternoon, is the aggregate score between the two teams. The first leg was 2-1 in favor of Dreams FC, which means that they score away from home. A 1-0 against Dreams FC puts them ahead on that aggregate. So even if Club African wins, they go top, then they probably will finish second. But that is very close. It's better you just go all out. If the first half ended 3-0, so we are home and dry, and then we can come second off and enjoy ourselves.
But I think they can. How you can actually, keep a clean sheet, and it's going to give you the idea of what
I think they can. They can. I would actually be shocked if Rivers United fail to qualify.
Okay, that's so much confidence right there. Okay, I think we can also boast of that, but this is what it's looking like at the moment. We'll see what's going to happen after that. But hey, quickly, games for this weekend. NPFL, I think my producer is telling me to actually hurry up on this one. NPFL games for this weekend. Match day 23 is getting our attention right now. Remo Stars are hosting Bayelsa United, who went last weekend. They went all the way to Eket Stadium to beat Aqua United by a lone goal. That was a stunner. But Sunday's game, Heartland will be hosting Sunshine Stars. Heartland bottom of the table. Luby Stars, the second spot, hosting Katsina United. Niger Tornadoes will be hosting Rangers. And Plateau United, high-scoring side, 5-1 against Heartland at the midweek. They will be hosting Bendel Insurance, who lost at Shooting Stars. Doma United are hosting Sports in Lagos. Kano Pillars and Abia Warriors, and Aqua United and Enyimba. Enyimba beats Gombe 4-0, and now they are going to Uyo, because Aqua United are actually returning to Uyo. They're leaving the Eket Stadium. So this weekend they start playing their matches again at the Uyo Stadium, Goti Akpabio Stadium. That's where they will be playing this match. Usually they're home. Now, it's been a roller coaster. Is it roller coaster? No, it's abysmal season for Aqua United. Now hosting Enyimba. Bayelsa went there last weekend on Sunday to beat them. And then, of course, midweek in Lagos, lost to Sporting Lagos 2-1. And now you're facing league leaders. And we all know, once Enyimba gets their hands on that, they hardly slip up.
Enyimba, they are primed to win this, as far as I'm concerned. And not because they are playing Aqua United that is on a bad run. There's also other reasons. If Enyimba fail to get a win here, they probably will get off the top of the table in less than 48 72 hours, and I don't think they will want that.
They're playing the game on Monday.
They're playing on Monday, okay.
Monday.
So I think they don't want that, because there is Lobby Stars that will be playing at home, and I think Plateau United also will be playing at home, and Plateau, they're also on a run. The last result will scare anybody. So I think Enyimba would do well not to lose this game. If they will win, I don't know. Because Aqua United are also, they are pushed to the wall. They just have to react. They must give something to their fans. And going back to the Gospel Akpabio Stadium, the players were complaining of the turf of the Eke Stadium. Now they have no complaints. And so they must deliver.
Yeah, they must deliver. Austin, they have to deliver in Uyo against table toppers Enyimba after 22 games on 39 points, goal difference of 7.
And that will be a good way to, get their season back on track if they can get the result against Enyimba. They are struggling at the moment, but Aqua United knows how to play Enyimba. go back last 3 seasons, you know, Eimba always, even in Aba, struggled to get a draw against Aqua United. So I think they just need to look at themselves and be realistic and say, we have been woeful this season, but if we can get the result against Eimba, then we can just try to sustain that momentum and get, you know, try to get a top 10 finish, because the season is racing away. This is March day 23.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't start getting the results now, then you are telling yourself that you want to relegate. But hey, let's wait and see what Plateau United and Bendel Insurance will give us. That will be a cracker of a game because of what Plateau United seem to be showing. Now, the guys who are in the top 4, aside Eimba, are playing at home. So Remo Stars, we play to win. Plateau United, we play to win. Lobby Stars, we play to win. Ano Pillars, they're also at home. So Abia Warriors, so they will play to win. So it will be so competitive, and there will be so much pressure on those teams that Eimba will not say, let them just calm down and do what the elephant does, you know, go to Uyo and then stamp their feet and let everywhere shake. And we've said it, when Eimba have their sights on the title, they don't look back. So it's going to be an interesting weekend of football. I cannot wait to see the action, and then we'll come back here next week to talk about it.
We can wait for that. Let's quickly talk golf now briefly before we go to the English Premier League. I know Austin is what you really want to talk about, but then this one, we'll take this one out of the way. Or before that, let's talk about the police games quickly. I mean, we mentioned earlier that the final will be tomorrow. We'll listen to the first PRO talking ahead of the final, what they intend to put in place to have a fantastic final on a Saturday.
It goes it's not just a mere competition. It goes beyond what you think, because the theme of the competition is very crucial at this moment for all of us in Nigeria. The theme again is competing for peace, unity, stability, and development of Nigeria. So after this tournament, after this competition, we expect to leverage. We are going to leverage on certain things we have acquired, we have gained here to improve internal security in this country. Our men who have participated in these games, I'm sure they have acquired what it takes to be more active and more effective or efficient on the field. And after this, I'm sure the IGP is going to give directive to all commands so that we can resume or resuscitate that abandoned IGP games that we used to have every Wednesday. So we are going back to that tradition of the police. With sports activities in the police, we want to see how we can leverage on our ability, our mental alertness to improve security in this country.
One of the essence of the games is to discover new talents, and we have been having some amazing discoveries. I was there at Adamasingba yesterday. I saw one of our young constables did very well in karate, and I'm sure very soon they will be on the national stage. So we are progressing very well, and we're already eagerly looking forward to the closing ceremony of the games. As the medal stand, the Zone 2 is leading on the medals table, having won about 17 gold and over 35 medals in all. Followed closely in hot pursuit is the first headquarters, following very closely to Zone 2 with 15 gold and 34 medals in all. And that was as of this afternoon. Right now we are collating the names of our discoveries, the talents we have discovered. And what we'll be doing forthwith is to introduce them to the federations and continue to give them the support. Some of them we might need to bring out of where they are serving right now to give them the opportunity to focus more on developing their talents. I can assure you that, as was before, this BIPOGA will give us new talents in the police going forward.
All right, that's the police games final. Tomorrow you've heard from the police force PRO talking about what they intend to do, and of course those that are top in the table. Now quickly we'll go to, don't have much time again, the English Premier League. Yes, this weekend the Manchester Derby. But first we'll just run through all the games for this weekend, starting off with Brentford and Chelsea. Brentford hosting Chelsea, Everton and West Ham, Fulham, Brighton, Newcastle and Wolves, Nottingham Forest and Liverpool, who are actually playing with kids right now. The kids are running riot everywhere. And we go to Sunday's games, and that's where you have the Manchester Derby coming up this weekend. Of course, that's what we're focusing on quickly. I mean, Austin, I mean, I know everywhere right now, everywhere is buzzing because they're waiting for it. Look at the way Manchester United started this year, 2024. They've lost just one game, and that was against Fulham in the English Premier League. For Manchester City, overall, 18 matches unbeaten, 16 wins. That's all they have so far. I mean, once they started the run. And look at what happened just in the FA Cup, where you have Erling Haaland scoring 5 goals. And who was giving him all the assists? Kevin De Bruyne. These two guys are fit and ready, and it's Manchester Derby this Sunday.
And that's why we shouldn't just, think it will be one of those, matches. It's Super Sunday, it's a derby, and I tell you, it operates with a different kind of spirit. Everyone thought that Manchester United was going to run, Manchester City was going to run over Chelsea when Chelsea visited the Etihad. But look at the way it went. Chelsea were even so close to leaving the Etihad with a win. That's what these big games does, So let's just wait to see what they can do. Manchester United, they're tired of being, called the babes of Manchester City. So they might just go there and see if they can just disrupt some of the things that, Pep Guardiola and his team, they've been planning. But you can't take it away from this Manchester City team. When De Bruyne is playing top football, Bernardo Silva and Erling Haaland, they are unstoppable. But then again, Manchester United, as I said, wants to stop the jest, and they might just come out on Sunday and prove to us that they can actually, compete against Manchester City.
Okay, quick one. I mean, if you look at the head-to-head in the past 5, I mean, they've won 5 of their past 6 games in all competitions against Manchester United. I'm talking about City, with exception of that 2-1 league win, at Old Trafford, last season. I mean, look at all. It's all on City.
Yeah, it's on City's side. This is a very strange game for Manchester United. It's one of those games that Man U will win and you call it an offset.
Because of their position.
Because of their position and how poor their recent record against Man City have been. Everybody expects Man City to win. Yeah. But I always say this, when it comes to derby, form goes into the trash bin. The most important thing is that 90 minutes. If Manchester United can bring their A game, even City can find it difficult on a match day.
Okay. All right, Austin, we got to go. Manchester Derby, of course, this weekend. We're all expecting. But we need to leave right now.
Right, we'll look forward to that one, and then we'll come back to talk about it. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin Okonakpan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Yeah, just a quick one. Rivers United will be playing their game in Uyo. So most of their fans will not be there. I hope the people, everyone in New York, also you can actually tweet about it so that your people can go watch them and cheer them to victory. It's their final group game, and they need to win this and get into the quarterfinals. So you're going to tweet about it and ginger your people to go to the stadium. Nifade, thank you. It was nice doing this with you. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. Hopefully my next appearance will not be this long.
All right, thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Omowe. We're going to be leaving you with pictures coming from the Daniel Ogechi Gunjobi Memorial. That's a golf tournament, the annual charity golf tournament that happened over the weekend.
The Daniel Ogechi Akujobi Memorial Foundation embarks on another journey to bring soccer to the vulnerable children in the society. The foundation holds its annual charity golf tournament at the Ikoyi Club 1938 to raise funds for its intervention programs. More than 100 golfers feature in the tournament, and organizers are pleased with the financial support from partners.
It's been a channel for which we've been broadcasting and advising people on what the foundation is all about. And luckily, a lot of people are appreciating, and also through that we're getting a lot of benefactors who are supporting people who are essentially in need. We focus on the less privileged but intelligent children in the society, as well as the impoverished communities.
We hold this tournament every year because the golfing community here has been very supportive, and we raise good funds for charity. So this year in particular, there's a special focus on sponsoring for individuals and corporate bodies to actually sponsor a student or students. So in addition to donating just generally, an individual and an organization can actually sponsor one student, two students, depending on their, capacity and preference.
Stand up for the champions,
In the women's category, Candy Agu emerges champion after carding 74 net score. For the men, Tony Obo posts a remarkable 67 net score to claim the title.
I've played several, it's the first time we're winning, and hopefully we should go to impact on other members who could donate heavily. Ikoyi Club is known for charity. We give back to society. What we'll do today, this will endear us more to put some more money and give to charity, because we know we need to encourage the less privileged members of our society. For those of us who cannot afford the time and energy to do this, we just pass whatever fund we have to them and they'll go on unleashing. They've done a good work over the years. 13, 14 years in this business is not easy. And right now, given the country is hurting, foundations like this and more should be encouraged.
With the 13th edition of the tournament done and dusted, the Daniel Ogechi Akujobi Memorial Foundation is committed to improving the lives of the less privileged in Nigeria through charitable initiatives.